Hello, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Kat. I'm a wife, a homeschool mom, and an avid reader. For everyone else, welcome back. It is a Tuesday night, and I am exhausted. But I wanted to start some reading, and so I think I'm going to start with We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kluwer. This one is a couple gets a house, buys a house, and as they're renovating it, a man comes to the door with his family and asks if they can come in because they used to live there and they just kind of want that, I guess, closure. And things start going really weird. That one of the kids disappears, and who knows what else is going to go on in this house. There was a post I had seen about books not to read at night. And I want to say this one was on there, but I can't find the video now. And so I'm just kind of going by memory. I thought I thought God of the Woods was on that list as well. And that one wasn't really scary to me. So I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I also don't think I'm going to be awake very long. I am, as you can tell, yawning a lot. It's been a long day. I've been up since 6 a.m. It's now almost 7, so it has been 13 hours, including 6 hours of teaching. And so I am starting to get wiped out. But all is good, and I am going to start this, and then I'll probably get the first couple of chapters done and hit the bed. So I will check in with you guys shortly. Alright, I am now 40% into We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kluwer. I was reading it last night when I officially got to the 1/3 mark, but I did not feel like being on camera last night. I had a slight issue with my teeth and how they fit the last couple of days, and it caused a little blister or a rub point, and so I put my teeth in timeout. Advantage of dentures, I guess. But I'm really enjoying this one. I really relate to Eve, our main character. She has this desire to please people, and yet doesn't like when she pleases people, or when her pleasing people interferes with her space, I guess. So we have this family who have knocked on the door, and the husband says he grew up there, asks if they could do a little tour of the house. He comes in and, points out things that are different than when he grew up there. And then as he's getting ready, or as they're getting ready to leave, his daughter decides to spontaneously play hide and go seek, and it delays them getting out. Well, a snowstorm comes, and the father kind of does has this moment where he's like, have you noticed anything? And then he kind of trails off and they get interrupted. And the conversation is put on hold until later on. And then Eve brings up his start of a comment. And Charlie, Eve's significant other, also, encourages him to tell. And things that had happened are very interesting. Basically, just an entire life of slight changes that nobody else remembers. And so it's quite an interesting twist on this. And our main character is just having a really hard time with having this family encroach on her space. So I am going to keep reading, and I will check in very soon with you and let you know what I'm thinking. Alright, so I am now 77% through We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kluwer, and I am really having a great time so far with this book. There is kind of a little bit of a twist that happens, and you're able to start piecing a little bit of what's going on together. So I am excited to finish this one. But I'm just gonna kind of have to see how things go a little bit. We have 2 of our family members who have COVID, and 2 of us tested negative yesterday. So we're gonna have to watch that over the next few days, just to make sure that my daughter and I don't get sick, but we have banished the sickies to their rooms in hopes that we don't catch it, because my daughter and I have school next week, and neither of us want to miss those days. So I am going to get back to this, though. I will say like I said, I'm enjoying the writing. I'm enjoying the plot in this one. It does kind of have these weird ups and downs in pacing, as far as keeping me interested, but I am enjoying the book overall. And I had no problems last night reading it whenever I woke up and couldn't go back to sleep. I had a couple of times during the night that I woke up and couldn't go back to sleep. So I picked up the book and kept reading. And didn't have any problem going back to sleep after that. So we'll see how I feel once I get to the end of the book. But I will let you guys know how I feel about it soon. Alright, I have now finished We Used to Live Here, and I am unsure what to think. This book reminds me a lot of Verity, that when you get to the end of the book, you're kind of left wondering what really happened. The Marcus Kluwer has done a great job with this book, but I am definitely left wondering what is real and what isn't. Yeah, we're just gonna say I'm not going into any, not going through any doors that seem to appear and disappear. that was definitely an interesting one. And yeah, so I have another book done for both. I think I had this one on. Maybe I didn't have this one on Spookopalathon, but I did have it on my seasonal spooky challenge. So I have that book done that I can mark off. And I don't know if I'm gonna take a little break from reading or what. I am definitely feeling that a book hangover could happen. So maybe an audiobook will be next. So continuing on with both the seasonal spooky challenge and Spookopalathon, my next book is 10. This is a YA and then there were none-esque type book. So we have 10 young adults, 3-day weekend, and people are going to start dying. So I'm going to start this and see where it takes me. One thing I'm a little worried about is how high school drama feeling this is going to be, because it is a YA. I needed the YA for the unlocking prompt on the seasonal spooky challenge. And so I'm just trying to, I'm going to try to power through this, if it is that. Oh, the other thing is that I am going to have to find a new haunted house. Haunted house pick, because We Used to Live Here is not a haunted house, and it does not have diverse rep. I thought, from what I understood, is one of the characters was wheelchair bound, and that is not what this story is. So I'm gonna have to find a different haunted house with diversity rep in it, but that is a problem for later me. I have 10, which is due in 7 days, to the library, and so I'm going to finish that one. I'm gonna do that one, and then I will worry about adjusting my seasonal spooky challenge. So let's get this rolled then, and I will check in at the 1/3 mark. Alright, so I'm now at 35%. Sorry. And our young adults are trying to figure out what's going on. One of them has seemingly committed suicide, and everyone else is left really freaked out over this. And so they're all, they have no television, or they have no telephone communication. The phone lines are all dead. They're out in the middle of an island, so there's no cell service. Oh, the internet is out, power is out, and at every step, it seems that something or someone is thwarting them. And they definitely are freaking out. Adding to this, there's a lot of high school drama going on, adding to adding to all the feelings going on. So we're going to keep going and see where this goes. Currently, I'm thinking this is going to be about a 3-star from me, just because it definitely is reading a little younger than I would have liked. But I'm going to get back to it, and I will let you know what I think soon. So I goofed up. I meant to pause. Well, last night I went to bed at 59%, and I was like, oh, I'll just get to around the 66% mark, and then I will update. That did not happen. I got sucked into the story and finished the entire story, and then realized I never updated. Oops. This book took me for a ride. I can mostly forgive the early YA high school drama, because once you really get into the plot of the book, those things that are there that are high school drama for high school drama's sake build or help to further the plot along. So I had a good time. I had a good time with 10. I don't feel that it's a 5-star read. But I think I'm leaning toward a 4-star just because it did surprise me with the changes that were made. So I am going to call that a win. And that leads me to my next read, which I have right here. Boop. So up next, since I have the audiobook, and today is not a fun day at all, and I know I'm not gonna want to just read with my eyes, I am gonna start Nosferatu. This has been on my shelf for me to read for a few years now, and I'm really excited to check it out. I have read one other Joe Hill book. I read The Fireman, and I ended up having a great time with his theme of horror in that one. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't think the yawns are going away today. But for this, we are following Victoria McQueen. She has an uncanny knack for finding things. And then Charles Talent Manx has a talent of his, or a gift of his own. He likes to take children for rides in his Rolls Royce Wraith. And Victoria and Charlie are going to end up together at some point. And it's apparently going to end badly. And Victoria just wants to forget it. Charlie can't stop forgetting about Victoria. And so it's going to become a life and death battle of wills, according to the back here. So I'm going to give this a shot. From what I understand about Nosferatu, though, is that it's a early vampire story. So they're going to have to be... So I'm going into it assuming that there are going to be vampires in some way, shape, or form. But we will have to see how that goes. So I will check in with you soon. Alright, so I am about a third of the way through Nosferatu now by Joe Hill. I am trying to remember back. Let me take that mint out first. I'm trying to remember back to when I read The Fireman, because I think that this one is set up very much the same, where you have all of these people and their point of views with one kind of overarching point of view, but then they eventually all converge in the same, or they all end up together at some point in the book. So we have Vic, who has this special talent of being able to find lost things. And then we have Charles Mance, who steals children and sucks their souls and then takes them to Christmas Land, which is some weird other world in his imagination, I guess. And we meet a few other people along the way too. We have Bing, who is Minx's henchman, I guess. He's the one who helps Minx by taking care of the moms in the when he takes the children. So it's got a lot of really weird stuff going on. I do like the kind of magic system that's weaved in, that there are certain items that certain people can use to get them, basically transport them from one space to another. For Vic, it's her bike. For Charlie, it's his Rolls Royce. And so there's little bits and pieces throughout this that I'm really interested in. We also have some other people woven in that I'm not quite sure how they fit into the, or how they're going to fit into the overall story. Just because of what they are doing, it doesn't seem to fit. But we're just going to keep going and see how it ends up. I am having a little bit of a hard time today. I've fallen asleep several times now listening to the audiobook, and that's more because of the medical procedure I had today, and it's just that medicine is coming out of my system. So hopefully after today I won't have to rewind and re-listen to as much. But we'll see how it goes, and I will let you know soon how I'm liking it. Alright, so I am now 2/3 of the way through Nosferatu. We do get some glimpses, foreshadowing, I guess, of Nosferatu meaning vampire in either German or Russian. I can't remember which one it was. But so there's a few hints in that. So possibility of Manx being some sort of vampire, but not the kind of vampire that we would picture as a vampire. But overall, I am enjoying this. I keep getting moments when I want to find out what's happening next. So far, nothing in here has been grotesquely horror, where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't handle this. It being in print and then listening to the audiobook, I think is helping some with that, because I don't have the creepy music or the suspenseful music that we get with horror movies. So I'm kind of at this point where I'm like, maybe I can handle a little more horror than I thought. I haven't had anything really like grotesquely scare me with this one though. So I'm gonna keep going with it and listen to my child's heavy sighing over braiding, and find out what's going to happen with Vic and Manx and Little Wayne, and see what's going to happen, and if this is going to end happily or end horribly. I'll let you know toward the end. Okay, I have finished Nosferatu. That did not quite end how I thought it would. It was good. I enjoyed every moment of this book. The audio was incredible. Joe Hill definitely picked the right narrator for his audiobook, and she added so much to it. It's Kate something. Kate Mulgrew was the audio narrator, and the voices that she does were so incredible that even when I kind of was reading through to make sure that when I dozed off listening last night, that I didn't miss anything. Or that what I did miss, I could catch back up on. Figure out where I dozed off and re-listen to that part. But I could hear her interpretations of the voices in my head, and it was so awesome. So I think if I ever read this again, I am going to have Kate's voice in my head, because she did that great of a job with the audiobook. With that one being done and it being Friday, I'm going to try to wrap this vlog up today. So I'm kind of debating between two books. I think I'm going to go on ahead and do Cackle by Rachel Harrison. This one is a teacher. I believe she's a teacher. Yeah, a teacher moves from Manhattan to a small town, and she meets another woman who is going to really encourage her to get out of her comfort zone. And so I'm gonna try this one. This one honestly might creep me out a little more than Nosferatu or any of the others I read, because it hits a little closer to home with being a teacher. But we'll see. I know a lot of it's going to depend on how much the teaching plays a role and everything in it. So I'm going to give this one a shot. It's about 300. It's about 300 pages. The audio is just over 10 hours at 1x speed. So I probably will have this one done pretty quickly. And we're just going to give it a shot and see where it takes us. Nosferatu, it was for one of my Spookopolython picks. Cackle falls into both Spookopolython and the Seasonal Spooky Challenge. So I can hopefully knock some more off of both lists and see where life takes us from there. So I will check in with you soon. I am just over a third of the way through Cackle. This is an interesting story. So we have Annie, who her boyfriend of 10 years breaks up with her, and then she moves out of Manhattan and to a small town. And in this small town, she meets Sophie and gets some weird vibes. This weird things start happening around her, including spiders, like spider infestations, and just weird stuff. One of her students gets sick in class, and then he asks to be transferred from her class. Strange stuff. And so she's trying to navigate her feelings and to grow up a little bit, to be an adult on her own when she's not lived alone in many years, if ever at all. So it's got some interesting parts to it, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I am listening to the audio. I had a few hiccups in one of the chapters, but it seems things have smoothed their way back out, so I don't know. I'm thinking it was more user error with that. But I'm going to get back to the book, and I will check in soon. Alright, so I am now 2/3 of the way through Cackle. There's a slight twist in this that I was not quite expecting. But I definitely have enjoyed it. It's interesting to me how some of the characters have been brought together. Overall, I am enjoying the writing. I am enjoying the events going on in the book, but unless something really big happens between now and the end of the book, I think this one's just going to get a 4-star rating. Not because it's bad, it just... I know I've said this before. It just feels like something's missing to make it a 5-star. I am enjoying the characters. I am enjoying the plot. And everything. I'm not getting the horror elements out of this one, nor am I getting anything really special. Like, it's just a good book and an enjoyable read, but nothing really that sets it apart from anything else. So I'm gonna keep reading and see what happens in this last third that hopefully will raise it up to a great read. Otherwise, it'll just be a 4-star. I'll check in with you at the end. Alright, I have now finished Cackle. What is this, like just over 24 hours since I started it. I really enjoyed the overall story. I am going to give it 4 stars. Like I said, it just feels like something is missing. I cannot tell you what, though. It is enjoyable. It has kind of a fun... Oh, my alarm's going off on my watch. Oops. Turned off. Okay. It has a lot of great Halloween vibes. She kind of learns about herself and that she is not who she thinks she is. But this one is classified as a horror, and I did not get horror vibes from this. I don't know. Maybe I misunderstand what makes things a horror. Maybe that's what I need to do, is look up the quote-unquote definition of horror in novels. Because these ones, I mean, most of the books that I've read now this week, okay, so these are probably more along the line of dark fantasy, I guess, or gothic fantasy. It does not, they aren't slasher horror, and there's nothing in it that's really scary to me. I mean, yes, you have the spiders, and I guess if you're a arachnophobe, it might be scary to you to an extent. I do not do spiders. They just creep me out. And normally I would say that I was an arachnophobe, but even this, like, didn't creep me out. There was no time that I got the EBGBs from it. So I'm going to give it 2 stars. And I'm debating on what I'm going to do next. truthfully, this felt more like it could fall into the contemporary, a contemporary fiction Halloween book. Oh, that was gross. I just watched a cat throw up. Lovely. But overall, good book, good story, but I wouldn't call it horror. So I guess what's missing is it doesn't hit that for me. But I am done talking about Cackle. And I think I'm going to go on ahead and wrap this vlog up here because this leaves me off on a good point. I've got three or four books read, and I'm about halfway now through both the seasonal spooky challenge and my Spookopoly-a-thon. So I'm making pretty good progress, and it is October 19th. So much better in the consistency in my reading than I had last month. So I'm going to take it for a win, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.